I have read over all 80 pages of the notes that EA put out with the Dynasty deep dive. Yes, I actually sat there and read through all 80 pages. And that is what this video is going to be, man. I'm going to give you guys literally every bit of information that you need to know for Dynasty. Everything. We're not going to miss anything. So grab something to drink, grab something to eat. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but we might be here for a while. I'm going to try to run through this stuff fast, but get prepared because this is everything for Dynasty in college football 26. So I'm going to have each category pretty much broken up so it'll make sense that when we talk about each topic. You'll see as the first thing we're going to be talking about is the coaches. As most of you already know, if you don't know, there's going to be a bunch of new coach drip for college football 26. As you can see, there's a bunch of different things you could put your coach in. You could put him in some shorts. You could put him in a shirt with no sleeves. It's like 40, 35, 40 different options of stuff you could put on your coach. So unlike in college football 25 when you had only two options. The max level that your coach can hit in college football 26 is going to go up to 100. For 25, you could only go up to level 50. Coaching abilities are going to cost more in 26. Inflation is a real thing. The best example that I could pretty much give you guys is in college football 25. Let's say, for example, you went down the tactician tree and eventually you wanted to go down recruiting tree. You know how it would only cost you about 10 tokens. It's going to cost, let's say if you went down tactician, recruiter tree is going to cost you about 60 tokens. Motivator, I think it's going to cost you about 30. And then each like actual ability inside the tree, instead of it being like 5 tokens, it's going to be like 8 tokens. You will now be notified when either your coordinators are leaving or when you have actually hired your brand new coordinators. In 25, there was really like if you lost a coordinator, you didn't really notice, or if you got the guy, you also didn't really notice. There's like no notification. So there's actually going to be there's going to be a lot of stuff we talk about throughout this video where there's just you're getting notified on screen when stuff is actually happening. There's also going to be new program builder abilities. These abilities are going to be related to your assistant coaches. The first one's going to be forever home coordinators less likely to leave for a job. So it's pretty self-explanatory. You get this, it'll be easier to retain the coordinators you have at your school. The next one's going to be deal sweetener. Coordinators most likely to accept job. Let's say you're looking for coordinators. It'll just, this ability will make it to where they'll pick your school over other schools. And the last one's going to be cream of the crop. Increase the caliber of coordinators to hire. So this could either mean two things. It either means that there's going to be, when you're looking to hire coordinators, there's going to be a lot more options available, or the options that are available are going to be guys that are just way higher levels. That's all we got for the coaches. Now we are going to be moving on to the trophy room. Everybody wanted this in college football 26. It was something that was very iconic from the old NCAA games. And here it is, man. This is the trophy room. So this is pretty much how it's going to work. Anytime you win a bowl game, rivalry game, conference championship, national championship, or any type of individual award, it will show up in the trophy room, and it's also supposed to like notify you or something like that. Each dynasty that you make, that coach will have his very own trophy room that you can look at. There's over 160 trophies to collect, and the trophy room is going to be for all modes, so Road to the College Football Playoffs, Dynasty, and Road to the Glory. So I guess not all modes because it's not going to be for Ultimate Team. Next section we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about the transfer portal, and this is when the juice starts flowing. I'd probably say everything from here on out is probably some of the best information that I'm going to give you guys. That first stuff we just went over, that was the appetizer. So for the transfer portal, there's going to be a total of 2,000 players in it. I don't know how many there was in 25, but that's a whole lot we're getting for 26. The star ratings in the transfer portal are going to be different compared to guys coming out of high school. So I'm going to explain it basically. You know how guys come out of high school, they have their star rating, what they are, and they have that for the transfer portal as well, but it's not going to be based off of their high school star rating. So the best example that I can basically give you guys is if you have an 85 overall freshman in the transfer portal and you have an 85 overall senior in the transfer portal, the 85 overall freshman is going to have a higher star rating than the senior because he's an 85 overall freshman compared to an 85 overall senior. So I hope you get that. Every single player in the game now is going to have their own deal breaker. It was not like that in 25. Only some players had deal breakers. Now every single person is going to have a deal breaker, and if it is not met, they will transfer. And that's not the only thing. Every single player is going to basically have it's kind of like, I guess, a built-in deal breaker. But let's say, for example, the player's deal breaker is not playing time, it's something else. It doesn't matter. They all have playing time built into their deal breakers. So what EA is trying to do is they're trying to make it to where you can't stockpile a whole bunch of talent. Let's say you have like a guy that you know should be starting, but you redshirt him, and maybe he's like a junior or like a sophomore or something like that. Maybe even a sophomore redshirt, and you're not playing him or something like that. And he's like actually good. He's like a higher overall. He's going to transfer. So you guys know what you're doing. You're trying to stockpile all this talent. It's a little bit unrealistic, and they're trying to make it to more realistic to where these guys will transfer. So if you're trying to hide talent and save these guys for next year or something like that, be careful because they might not be there next year. They're also going to have dynamic deal breakers. These are basically, so let's say a guy has a deal breaker at the beginning of the year, then maybe later throughout the year his deal breaker is going to it could change. So you got to manage your team. You got to look at all your players. You got to make sure everybody's happy, and you really got to manage your roster. This is going to be the last thing for the transfer portal. We're actually going to have some transfer portal settings you can put on. The first one's going to be max transfers per team. This is how many players you can that can transfer from a team. You can put this anywhere from 0 to 30. If you put it on 0, you will actually disable the transfer portal, and your dynasty won't even have it. So if you want to kind of take it back to how it used to be back in the day, you could actually do that. The other one's going to be transfer probability. You can scale how likely guys will transfer if a deal breaker is not met. So that's pretty much all the stuff for the transfer portal. The next category we're going to be talking about is the Your School tab. So you know how you can go over to the, when you go over to like recruiting, you can scroll over to the tab where it says My School, and it shows you all that stuff right there. You can see your school's pro potential, your athletic facility, school atmosphere, and pretty much all that stuff. There's some new stuff going on with it this year. So most school grades, the academic prestige, the grades are going to fall this year. They're supposedly they're trying to make it even more realistic, and they talk about how like everyone's grades are dropping this year. Some other stuff is pro potential will be based off the guys that you get drafted and not your team's overall. In 25, pro potential was just based off your team's overall. In 26, it's going to be based off all the guys you get drafted. So if you're getting a bunch of wide receivers drafted, your wide receiver you. All the wide receivers are going to want to play for you. It's not going to be based off overall anymore. The other one is going to be playing style. It's not going to be based off individual performance, but it's going to be based off team performance. So if your corners are getting a lot of picks, if your linebackers are getting a bunch of tackles, that's individual performance. They're going crazy. That's what playing style is based off of 25. And 26, it's going to be based off of, if your defense is really good at stopping the run, if your secondary is really good, guys aren't throwing the ball on you, if you're throwing the ball over the yard, it's going to be based off team performance. So playing style is going to be based off of that. Next category, we're moving on to recruiting. One of the biggest things in all of playing, Dynasty, it's all about the recruiting. That's where, some people literally only live on this screen. They don't even actually play the game. So this is, there's a lot of stuff we have to talk about. All right, so let's get right to it. The first thing is going to be location-based recruiting. Basically, if in college football 25, no matter when, if you scheduled a visit, it was going to cost you 40 points. Now it could cost you anywhere from 10 to 40. The closer a guy is to, your school, the location, where you're recruiting him and all that, it could cost as low as 10 points. So going after a guy across the whole world, you got to remember it's going to cost a little bit more. It's going to be a little more pricey. There's going to be a new ability under the CEO archetype. I think it's called mirror or something like that. What this is going to allow you to do is you're going to be able to double the amount of recruits that you can schedule in a day. So in 25, you could do 4 in one day. This ability is going to allow you to do 8. So I don't know how much is it going to cost to upgrade it or whatever, but it's probably definitely worth it. So talking about a little bit of scouting now, when you're scouting players, you know how in college football 25, you see where you can see all their attributes and stuff. Let's say you're looking at wide receivers, but every time you look at a different wide receiver archetype, their attributes are like in a different place, like awareness is here, but now under pressure is there, and like it changes for each archetype you look at. No matter what, as long as it's the same position group, like you're looking at all wide receivers, all their attributes are going to be in the same spot when you're looking at them. Thank you, EA. So if you decide to get the mind reader ability for your coach, this is going to allow you to see a player's dev trait while scouting. How this worked in 25 was you were able to see their dev trait, I think after you scheduled a visit with them, which was kind of defeated the whole point of the ability. So that's going to be pretty godlike, I'm not going to lie. The next thing that we got in recruiting, man, is we got the recruiting battles. I think supposedly this was something in the older NCAA games. I'm not too sure, but Basically, how the recruiting battles are going to work is it's going to trigger for a player when they're down to their last two schools. So it'll be just you and the other school in. It's almost kind of like overtime in a way. It's going to give you it's going to kind of give you extended time with that player, and he's going to give really both the schools a chance to kind of land him. Like it's like, okay, you are my last two schools. Whoever gives me the best due out of you two right now, that's who gets it. So it's kind of like overtime in a way. So it's pretty cool. There is going to be 4,100 total recruits coming out of high school every single year. Don't know what the total was for 25, but I know that it's got to be a lot more. There's also going to be a lot less players coming out every single year that are going to be just absolutely like crazy. Like if you think you're going to get like all these crazy 99 speed guys like you were in 25, 98 speed guys, and all these just insane abilities, it's not going to be like that. The recruiting is going to be harder. It's going to be a lot bigger class, but it's also going to have a lot less, just craziness coming out of it, if that makes any sense. Players are also going to come out of high school just weighing a lot less. Like at college football 25, man, you would see some guys that are like 6'3", 310 pounds. I mean, like that's just the average high schooler is not coming out looking like that. So it's going to be a lot more realistic weight. Like let's say you're recruiting some little skinny wide receiver, like he's gonna look like a high school kid coming out of college. But we'll talk about it later in the video. These guys will gain weight over time. So something I don't know if a lot of people really kind of understood in college football 25, but it was the sway feature. You can actually kind of see it over to the right. Something you're going to be able to do in college football 26 is you're going to be able to see the success rate of using the sway feature. You can see you got high, medium, low. I'll be honest, I don't really understand the sway feature, but this is something they've added. Something that's going to be really helpful when you're recruiting. You're going to be able to see your team's needs, why you are recruiting. So it'll, maybe if you want to recruit just based off your team needs, you could. Now it was something that was in 25. I'll be honest, I don't even remember how you access it, but it's a lot easier on this game. Literally, you just open it up and you can see your team needs are going to be right there. So if somebody wanted to just recruit based off that, you could literally just do that. Something that's going to make it a little easier when you're just looking through your prospects of guys that you're trying to go after, you're scouting all that stuff. You'll see there's a red dot next to some guys, and you'll see some guys you kind of have like a little green arrow. The little green arrow just kind of tells you where you're at on those guys' boards without having to go into each player and see where you're at on their board. And then the red dot means that you are in that player's top 10. So just something that's a little bit easier when scrolling through all your prospects. This right here is going to be the very last thing for recruiting. I told you there was a lot for recruiting. There's going to be some new filters you can use when trying to search through and find some high schoolers you're looking to recruit. It's three things. The first thing is going to be you could look through maximum star rating. Second one is minimum pipeline level, and the third one's going to be recruiting stage. So just some different tabs you could look through when trying to figure out who you want to scout. Moving on to the next category. We're done with recruiting. We're done with the transfer portal. All that is done. We're now moving on to player progression. This is some of my favorite stuff I think that they've added. I'm a big player progression guy. It's some of my favorite stuff in Dynasty as a whole. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So first up, it's going to be, we're going to talk about a little bit about dev traits. Players with a higher dev trait will always have a better off season compared to a guy with a normal dev trait. Now, I think that is just common knowledge. But I think what they're saying is there's times like maybe you have a guy that's like an impact or something like that, and then maybe like a guy that's a normal. They had a very similar offseason when going up. It ain't going to be like that no more. We talked about this next one a little bit in the recruiting stage, but players will be gaining weight in the offseason because they're coming out of high school. They're going to be, they're small. So as from a freshman all the way to a senior, their weight is gonna change a whole lot. Going back a little bit to the My School tab, your school or whatever, your athletic facility is actually going to play a role in your player progression. If you have like a high grade in there, like an A or A plus or something like that, your players are actually going to upgrade and progress faster compared to schools that don't actually have a very good athletic facility. So it's kind of realistic in a way. So if your school doesn't have a good one, there's not really a way to make it better. Maybe you might have to donate some real money to your school. So if you have a player that had a really good season, he went off, he put up numbers and all that stuff, in the off season, there's a chance his dev trait can go up. I heard from normal to impact, it's supposed to, like, it's pretty realistic that can actually go up at a realistic pace. Impact to star, whatever it is, it's a lot harder. And star to elite, It sounds like they got a damn near win Heisman for that to happen. So for the off-season training, you know how you guys, your players get the big boost with the off-season training or whatever. When you actually get to view it now, basically you're going to get to see, it's going to visually show you every single attribute that went up, how much it went up by, and even their weight. You can even see like it shows like this guy went up to, he's 177 pounds. He went up 2. So it's just gonna show you literally everything that's happening with your players. This feature right here is probably one of possibly my favorite feature as a whole they did. They kind of took a little bit of a page out of Madden's book with this one, but you're going to be able to manually upgrade your players' attributes, and you're going to be able to manually upgrade their abilities as well. You know, the little tokens or whatever they got in 25, it will do it for you automatically. Now you could still have it do it like that for you in 26. It could do it for you automatically, but or you could kind of go the Madden route and you could do it all yourself. You could upgrade any attribute you want that is available, and same thing with the abilities. It's going to cost those tokens to upgrade their abilities, so sometimes you might have to decide, you know, do I want to upgrade this guy's, for example, maybe I want to upgrade his route running, but I'm able to get, let's say, take off to tier 2 right now. I have enough tokens, so you're going to be able to control all that. But if you don't want to, it's fine. You can just put it on autopilot. Changing your players' positions this year is a little bit more stricter, and I say a little bit just because it's only if you try to do like some wild position change, like let's say you try to put a wide receiver at offensive lineman or something like that, like something that's just really outlandish. He's just not going to get upgraded to that position. It's just not going to work out. One good thing about position changes, though, when you change the player's position now, it's going to tell you what abilities he's going to be losing and what abilities he's going to be gaining. So it's not a surprise when you go ahead and do it now. So that's really good. Our very next category is we are moving on to wear and tear. They did a lot of reworking around wear and tear. And at first, I remember when they were talking about all of it, I was like, I don't care about any of this. But you know what? We got some good stuff. So the first thing you're going to notice when you're looking at your player's health screen is you're going to see they have like bars. It's season. You have a season health bar and you have a career health bar. Basically how this works is if your career bar runs out, the player's dead. No, I'm just kidding. He's not actually dead, but his football career is over. He's going to have to medically literally retire. The season bar, that's the one on top of the career bar. That is basically how much health he has for the season. You obviously don't want that to go, too low, or else he's going to be done for the rest. Like if the bar goes all the way down, he's done for the rest of the season. You won't see him till next year. And don't think, okay, well, next year it's just going to replenish all the way and he's good. He's back to normal. If it gets like drastically low like that, they said that the bar will not just 100 refill next year. I don't know how much it's going to refill, but you really got to make sure you're managing these players. And you're not just, throwing them into the ground, killing them. And you're probably thinking, well, how do I manage these waves? EA has implemented in some ways where you could do, it'll make it easier managing your players' rotations. So auto subs were already in Dynasty for 25, but for 26, they have like, it's like wear and tear auto subs pretty much. Like you can see all these sliders they got on screen. It's like way more into depth. Now, there's like 2 different routes you could go about it. You could do the custom sliders to figure out how you want to, have your guys sub in and out with the whole wear and tear thing. Or EA has like custom sliders already. Here's what they got. So they got keep fresh. It'll rotate players in and out to avoid wear and tear. So that's probably like, you'll get new faces in there constantly. Then there's normal, a balanced and steady rotation. I would say it's probably what we have now, but I don't like that. I would say like that's just default, but I don't think it is because at least for 25 it can't be. And then there's grinded out starters. They're not gonna, if you put it on that slider, the starters are not going to leave the field. So, or you could do your own custom sliders. Figure out how you want your guys going in and out the lineup. You definitely want to look at this because if you leave all this stuff alone, and you just keep going in game after game. You're not checking on your players and you're not managing the roster. You're going to lose some football players. The very last thing for the wear and tear thing is what we just talked about. It was wear and tear, not wear and tear sliders, but it was wear and tear substitutions. Okay, this is actual wear and tear sliders. So this is like how much your players will recover from a sack. How long will it take them to recover from a sack, hit stick, in and out of like timeouts, all kind of stuff like that. It is crazy in the depth. So like I said, at first when they talked about all this wear and tear stuff, I kind of blew it off. Now that we actually get to see what they're talking about, They went crazy. Next category we got is the history. So they added a bunch of different stuff that you can look at or just kind of look back on in your dynasty. You're going to be able to see every single national championship, every single conference championship, and this is not just stuff that you did in your dynasty, but this goes all the way back to like the 1800s. Every Heisman winner, you can see every single team that made it to a natty. There's also going to be 14 actual authentic awards added into the game. You know, in 25 we had like a bunch of like fake awards pretty much. 14 brand new awards going to be added into the game. You're also going to be able to see like a player, like if you go to like a player's card, you'll be able to see every single award that players had. It could be even like a player of the week or something like that. You'll be able to see everything that players earned. The very last thing for history is any type of record that you break. Could be a school record, it could be some type of college record. Any type of record a player breaks, the game's going to alert you. A message will pop up on screen like this that you've broken a record. This next category is kind of like a 2-for-1 because it's you'll kind of see why, but formation subs are going to be in the game. I thought they were in 25. It was auto subs that were in. It wasn't formation subs, so you'll be able to pretty much put any single player on your team in any formation that you want. That's definitely a big W, and I say it's a 2-for-1 because they've also, I'm not going to make 2 categories for these, so I'm just going to combine them in one. But there's a bunch of new stats that you can actually view in the game now. These are from stuff from the box score to stuff when you go back to the menu and you look at the records and statistics. These are all the stats. I'm going to run through these very fast. For quarterbacks, you got touchdown percentage, sack rate, interception percentage, touchdown to interception ratio, net yard per pass attempt. Running backs, you got fumble rate, punters, touchback percentage, offense as a whole, total yards a game, rushing yards a game, passing yards per game, yards per play. Defense as a whole, you got yards allowed a game, rush yards allowed a game, pass yards allowed a game, points allowed per game, and sacks per game. So for custom conferences, this one's a pretty quick one as well. You're going to be able to lock in 2 annual matchups. What is it called? It's like 2 protected games you get a year. In College Football 25, you could not schedule any games in conference. It was all automatic what you got. Now you can do at least 2. So there's a team that you want to play every single year and it's in your conference, you can go ahead and do that. All right, so we got 2 more categories left. It's going to be quality of life changes. That's what we're on right now. The next one's going to be team builder. This quality of life changes, though, that's some of my favorite stuff that they did. W's from EA on all of these. The first one is going to be when you're, if you're the commissioner, if you're trying to force a win for somebody. In College Football 25, it would say, do you want to give it to the away team or the home team? Now it's actually going to say the team's name so you don't get anything mixed up. Before you advance a week, a warning will pop up like, hey, are you sure you want to advance the week? I'm sure we've all accidentally hit sim week and we didn't mean to before because, it's kind of wild that wasn't even in the game, but thankfully it is now. You can also now sim to any point of the season. Week 2, week 3, week 4, any point in the season, you can sim to that. So that's a big W. And the last one is going to be when you do a red shirt, your entire depth chart will no longer reset. I'm sure we all did that before, and then we had to redo the whole depth chart. Not fun. This is our very final category, man, team builder. And I will say this, I am very surprised. EA has added a ton to the team builder. Spoiler, if your team is not in College Football 26, do not worry. The team builders got you covered this year. They went absolutely crazy. First things first, the website is going to be 2 times faster. If you've used this website, you know how horrible it was. So that's actually some really good news to hear. You will also now be able to upload 5 megabytes worth of images. I think for 25, you can only do 10 total images. So 5 megabytes, I'm not sure how far it's going to get you, but I would assume it's got to be more than 10 images. If you made a team in College Football 25, you will be able to import it to College Football 26 with no problem, no hassle, nothing. And not only that, all these new features that we're about to talk about, it will allow you to add to that no problem at all. I'm telling you, we got some really good stuff coming up here. There is going to be a My School tab now for the team builder. So you know how there's championship contender, athletic facility, all that stuff we've talked about throughout this whole video. There's going to be a tab for that in the team builder where you can change all that stuff and add it because, in College Football 25, when you added a team builder team, you were just literally replacing that school. Now, you're still going to replace that school in 26, but trust me, all that history of that school is going to be erased. Like, it's going to be that school you created, trust me. But now that was kind of the problem in 25 because you were still taking over that school's, their academic prestige, their athletic facility, all that. No more. I'm telling you, man. EA absolutely cooked with the team builder this year, man. Some other stuff you're going to be able to do with the team builder is you're going to be able to change players' names. You were not able to do that in 25. You don't understand how massive that is. You can change players' names. You can give a player a previous red shirt if you want to. You can change the player's high school star rating. You can give these players deal breakers. You're also going to be able to change, players' height, their weight, all that stuff. You're going to be able to change what mental abilities they get, the abilities they get, the attributes they get, everything, man. You're actually getting to make your own team. You can also change the pipeline for the team, the tier, and all that stuff, man. I mean, it's just crazy. They also are going to be adding 3 generic stadiums that are bland. There's no branding on them and anything, just for the team builder, so you don't have to sit there and pick the the FIU, but we're Delaware State. Like, what the hell is that? So it's going to be 3 stadiums to choose from. You got a small one, you got a medium one, and there's going to be a specialized high school one. And like I said, there's no branding on any of these, so you can put whatever the logo brand you want for the team. And the very last thing for the team builders is, man, you're going to be able to create up your rivalries. You can create rivalries, and you can create up to 5 of them. You're going to be able to give it a rival name, the first year it was played, the all-time record, who won the last matchup, all that stuff. And there you have it, man. That is the complete rundown from the 80 pages EA put out for the deep dive for Dynasty for college football 26. That's everything. Now, did I leave some stuff out? Yes, some very minor things. It's not that serious. You'll be fine. The game's coming out soon anyway. Relax. But that is everything, man. I read through the whole thing, and man, I am excited for college football 26. I mean, look, man, I still play college football 25 every day. I play the game religiously, so trust me, I'm ready for this new game, man. Let me know down in the comments, man, who is going to be the first team that you guys rebuild in Dynasty for college football 26. And if you guys did enjoy this video, man, drop a like. And if you're not subbed to the channel, man, sub to the channel, man. I just read through 80 pages of fucking content. But until next time, man, I'll see y'all boys in the next one.